I actually was at a dinner party the other night. It's girls' dinner, really fun. Politics came up. Everyone's like, kind of, who are you voting for? And she goes, oh, I'm voting for Kamala. And I was like, oh God, okay. Why?
Yeah.
Abortion, the only issue. And I was like, why? Why is this like the number one issue that people are voting on? So many women have been programmed to think that this is the most important issue.
Rockwell here today, former Democrat.
Former, yes.
And now what are you?
A proud conservative.
Okay.
Yeah, right-wing extremist, perhaps.
Whoa, so that's a big change. And what year did that take place exactly?
It's an evolution, right? But definitely 2020 is, I think, when things really clicked and I started to see the world differently.
All right, so
more
2020.
clearly.
So after Trump left?
On the cusp.
On the cusp.
Yes. I voted for him the second time.
Oh, wow.
The first time, I actually worked on the Hillary Clinton campaign.
No way.
Yeah.
What?
In 2016.
What was your role there?
I did field in Virginia. We
Wow.
won that area, so I did my job.
You did your
very well.
job.
Yeah.
At the time, you thought you were doing what was right.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Right. And then what were some things you witnessed there that made you question stuff?
I didn't question until it started maybe 2018. I also worked on the Andrew Gillum campaign, who is if you don't recall, he was the Democratic candidate running against our current governor, Ron DeSantis. So he
Wow.
was like the really, really progressive Democrat that was going to maybe be the governor of Florida. Thank the Lord. We failed at that one, but it was really
Yeah.
close. It was like 50,000 votes.
Damn.
Yeah.
Ron's been crushing it. So
Crushing
yeah,
it.
Florida could have been a lot different then.
Yeah. Oh my God, 2020, like we were free. We were fairly open. There were a couple weeks that we weren't, but witnessing that is what really sort of snapped. I was like, okay, I have so much freedom and ability right now to continue living my life. And I think isolation is really dangerous for people. Like I was living alone. And I was like, I need to see my friends. I need to be social. I need to do things. The fear mongering that's happening up north, like that's going to make people sick. And I mean, we're seeing it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like people are still kind of in psychosis. There's still people that wear masks in their cars. Like
Terrible.
that's
I was
us.
physically sick when I was in LA during COVID.
Really?
Like it was so bad that the mental stress just made my body
Yeah.
like physically sick.
Yeah.
It was terrible. And that was how a majority of America, other than Florida and maybe a couple other cities in Texas, I don't remember, but you guys did great with how you handled COVID.
Yeah. I mean, we felt it here, but just the juxtaposition of Florida versus the rest of the country. I mean, being here, it really, like, it changed the way I saw things for sure.
Absolutely. So 2020, what was that like? Was it a defining moment where you switched, or was it just a compilation of a few events?
There were a couple moments, right? Leading up to it, I got sober, so I stopped drinking, started to have a connection with a higher power. I think that's really important, the spirituality component, because when I was a Democrat, I was kind of like obsessed with it. Like leftism is definitely a religion. And if you look at it like the Marxist roots, it makes sense. Like you have to remove kind of a spiritual presence. Government is God. And I fell into that. And there's a lot of rituals in that, right? So as I was kind of on my own faith journey, exploring things, that the chains broke a bit. It didn't have as much of a hold on me. And so I was able to kind of see things clearly. I joke, like, I'm sober now, I'm conservative. Like, I was drinking and I was a Democrat because, like, I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah. Dang. So you were pounding.
I'm not going to say that, but it's just different mental state, right? Like, I'm level-headed all the
Right.
time.
I'd love to see videos of you in this Democratic state.
Yeah, maybe after the interview.
Wow. I can't even picture it because I just met you now. But so do you believe young women only vote on one issue?
Yeah, I do. And my concern right now is that young women are getting emotionally manipulated by the left.
Because of the abortion
Full
issue?
stop. Yep, the abortion issue. I actually was at a dinner party the other night. It was girls' dinner, really fun, lovely. The host, politics came up, right? I didn't know her that well, and everyone's like, kind of, who are you voting for? And she goes, oh, I'm voting for Kamala. And I was like, oh, God, okay. Why?
Yeah.
Abortion, the only issue. And I was like, why? And of course, it's always followed with, I mean, I would never get one, but I just want women to be able to have access to their health care. It's all like, it's just fake. It's all fake. It's not health care. It's also completely preventable, right? Women don't have to be in that position.
Right.
I think there are so many other options. Imagine if we pro-life, pro-choice came together and instead focused on pro-education, right? We could have initiatives in schools for young women, maybe teaching them how to track their cycles, how to know their bodies. You can't get pregnant every day of the month. Why is this like the number one issue that people are voting on? We have people overdosing all the time of fentanyl. We have an open border. hello, the market crashed today. The economy is not doing well.
It's terrible.
Like there are bigger things. They're just bigger things, right? But so many women have been programmed to think that this is the most important issue. And that is why I said before, like, the emotional manipulation of women is very concerning to me. And the fact that Kamala is a woman, it's very reminiscent of 2016 and the messaging around it, like, you're obligated to vote for her because she's a female. No, I'm not. And I think that that's just it's convincing, and it's scary because I think she could win.
Yeah, I think a lot of women will vote for her just because she's a female.
Yeah.
But it's good to change.
She's also a communist.
Right. Yeah, we'll go there. But similar story to Amber Rose with you then.
Yeah. So I love that she spoke at the RNC. I know she had a lot of pushback. I think it's great. Candace Owens interviewed her really recently. I think there's a lot of power in stories of transformation. We're allowed to change our minds. And when I changed my mind, a lot of friends I had that were on the left, like they kind of fell off. I didn't have permission to change. Whereas as I started to evolve, I noticed that a lot of people that maybe had more conservative or Republican values, like, were embracing me. And even when I was more liberal, I would still try to have discussions with people. And I was always able to, like, kind of talk to Republicans. But if it's the opposite, like if someone that's conservative is trying to maybe challenge someone that's liberal, there's just not as much open-mindedness, which is so ironic and hypocritical.
It's true, though.
It is true.
That's how politics should be. You should be able to talk to the other side.
Yeah, it should be a dialogue.
Right.
And I think at the end of the day, like, we probably agree on 80% of the issues, but the media and the people in power focus on maybe 10 to 20% of what we're divided on, like the abortion issue, right? Which should be so far back, like, it should not even matter.
They've debated that for my whole lifetime, I feel like.
Right?
Crazy. I've seen that in the news for like 20 years.
Forever. And it's so unnecessary. And I also think that it is, like, kind of triggering for people to talk about that all the time.
Yeah.
Granted, I'm talking about it right now. But I do think at the end of the day, like, we have a lot more commonalities than differences, and we're being forced to have this division. Like, it's not organic, it's orchestrated.
Yeah, well, I grew up pretty left in Jersey, which is
Okay.
pretty left state, and
Yeah.
I thought Republicans were evil growing up. And I
See?
just realized it was a lot of programming, honestly, from the media.
How'd you change your mind?
Trump,
2016 or 2020?
16.
Look at you
Yeah,
go.
I was early.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember getting I posted a photo of Trump in like 2017, 2018. Got so many FUs, like people
Wow.
unfollowing me and stuff.
You're so badass.
Well, back then it was, but now it's like more normal to
Yeah.
back him.
I feel like if you liked him in 2016 and then you got to live through those next 4 years, it was the best 4 years ever.
Yeah, it's like I told you so. Yeah, like
It must have been so fun. Like,
Yeah.
just riding the high.
yeah.
The first 3 years, I was like, oh my God, this guy, I can't with the tweets. And then finally I snapped out of it and I was like, holy excuse my language. He's so good. He was
Yeah.
such a good president.
Well, the tweets were wild, to be fair.
The tweets were wild, yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, bring back tweets. Like,
I just told Bo I want him back on Twitter.
yeah,
Like, that'd be great.
that would be.
I miss him on Twitter. Because Twitter now is crazy.
It is.
I mean, it's better in a way because there's more truth,
yeah,
but it's almost like there's too much free speech.
it's lawless.
Yeah, they're going after like Jewish people now, and like it's it's pretty
Yeah.
crazy on there.
It is. It is. I think that, though, it's important to practice, like, not taking everything as fact as soon as you read it. You know, it's almost a good social experiment. Like, there's so much nonsense out there. You kind of
Right.
have to weed through it. It's like, it's good. I think it's training us to just not take everything in.
Well, they do have that fact checker, which is hilarious sometimes.
Yeah.
Like someone will make a tweet and be like, "Nope, you're wrong."
I think it's the Babylon Bee gets fact checked all the time.
Oh, yeah,
It's
yeah.
hysterical. Like, they're
Yeah.
a parody account.
Yeah, it's nuts. Shout out to Elon.
Yeah, big time.
I'm a big fan. When he backed Trump, I was shocked.
I know.
I couldn't believe it.
I know. And he doesn't even care. Like,
No.
if it affects like stock prices or not. Because at the end of the day, I guess he just wants Tesla to be, like, independent, right? Make lots of money, have jobs, great
Right.
jobs. I like him because he's living his values. Free speech is so important to him. The fact that he bought Twitter, now X, the fact that he's actually speaking what's on his mind, like,
Right.
he is a man who lives his values. I think we need more of that in society.
Absolutely. I love him way more now that he's doing that. And now I know the reason with his interview with Jordan Peterson.
I missed it. You
Oh, you
want to
missed
fill
it?
me in a little
Yeah,
bit?
so he talked about one of the main reasons he bought Twitter was because his son turned transgender because he believes that person was programmed by the media.
Yeah, I remember reading about that last year actually in the New York Post and kind of saying something about it. Like, I told you, like, the schools are indoctrinating kids, and
Right.
it's really, oh. And like I said, I think like women are more easily manipulated because we're just more emotional. That's something that I had kind of been taught, right? While I was at school, I went to a women's college.
Oh, wow.
Very academically rigorous, world renowned, great school, hard to get into. I was really proud to go there. I had a great time, honestly. But in the aftermath, in the real world, I realized I'd been taught all these things that were so counterintuitive to the way the world actually works, right? Like, even though I thought gender was a spectrum, I also was told that like there is no difference between men and women. Like, first of all, gender is a binary. It's not a spectrum. Emotions are a spectrum. Like, full stop.
Right.
Men and women are different. Like, we don't think or see things the same, and that's kind of the beauty of, you know, this the synergy of men and women. And it's something that I think has just, it's so interesting, like the language around all of this, that if you hear a lie enough times, it becomes a truth. And I think that's what happened to Elon's kid.
Yeah, and a lot of celebrities' kids.
Yeah.
Not just Elon.
Yeah, but a lot of celebrities are super woke, so like they're feeding into it, which is really
Yeah,
sick.
it's sad.
It's sad. It's like your kid's crying out for help. Like, something else is deeper. Like, I have empathy for someone that is so confused and so unhappy that they think they need to change everything about themselves, and that's the solution.
Right.
Also, how does it make sense if we're simultaneously telling people that are obese that like they're perfect, they should accept everything? Isn't it the same logic that you would tell someone that if they're perfect the way they are, why do they have to change? I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's
That's
weird.
like some liberal logic.
No,
It
it's
never
nuts,
adds
man.
up.
I just don't like that they're pushing it on kids.
Yeah.
Like their
Yeah.
brains aren't even formed.
Like, if you want to do that, I guess wait, like, be an adult.
Right.
I guess, like, to each their own, right? At the end of the day, if someone's an adult and they want to change everything about themselves, they are entitled to. You know, I mean, I'm someone that's changed a lot, like, ideologically, but I do think that if you're like cutting off body parts, if you're taking all this medication, first of all, you're just going to be like a pharma slave for the rest of your life.
Right.
There's just so much more that goes into it as opposed to like affirming feelings. And like I said, like, feelings change. You know, it's like there are phases that people grow out of, and that's not to diminish the reality of what people are putting themselves through, but I do think that there is a level of it being a fad, and it's being fueled because it's trendy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, speaking of like the medical field, you made a
Yeah.
lot of posts about drugs and big pharma and stuff and fentanyl.
Yeah.
I'd love for you
yeah.
to explain your stance on that.
Sure. Well, I'm very anti-drug, right? I think that the opioid crisis has crossed class barriers. Everyone knows someone that's been affected by it. Like,
Yeah.
everyone has a story of a friend that was addicted to drugs or has passed away. And where did that come from, right? Purdue Pharma, the Sackler family, like, they knew what was going on, you know, not to say that they orchestrated this, but there was a lot of knowledge, and just the whole healthcare system needs to be changed, right? There's too much money in pharmaceuticals. And it's interesting because my family was in the pharmaceutical industry, and I was kind of always taught growing up, like, don't take things. Yeah.
Really?
Yes, like, try to be as like holistic as possible.
Wow, that's kind of ironic, right?
I know. I know. And Trump's talking about it now too. He wants to hold pharmaceutical companies
I
accountable.
saw that. Him and RFK, both of
Yeah.
them.
I mean, I love, like, modern medicine's great. Like, I love Tylenol. I take it all
I
the
used to
time.
take Tylenol and Advil after soccer games, and that was normal.
Yeah.
It was like popping a pill.
And I know that, I mean, it's an amazing time to be alive. We have so much access to things, but too much, you know, like when you're going to a dentist and you have a cavity and they're prescribing you Xanax. That's a true story that happened
People
to me.
do that?
Yeah. Like,
What?
it's just the mindset around it. It's too easy. It's just too easy. Like, let's not just pop a pill. Let's like look at the full picture. Like, what's really at the root of this?
Yeah, I can't believe a dentist can even give you Xanax. That's
I know.
crazy to me.
Yeah.
I got Xanax easily from a doctor. First day I ever met him.
Easy, right?
Said
Easy.
I had anxiety.
Yeah.
And
Like,
that almost ended my life. I ended up having a seizure.
damn.
Because they don't tell you how to taper off it or
Yeah.
how to take more
Oh, it's
dosage.
seriously addictive.
So addictive.
Yeah.
Holy crap. No, for real. Like, were
Yeah.
you on Xanax for a while?
Yeah, I did. I have taken it,
Yeah, it
yes.
was rough getting
Yeah.
off it.
Funny enough, I was prescribed it for the first time in college is when I started to get anxiety attacks. And it's interesting because that's when I was like really buying into a lot of the like feminist doctrine and leftism. And it was so overwhelming because I was looking at things from this like victim lens. Of course, you're going to have anxiety if you think the whole world's out to get you just
Right.
because you're a woman, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that feminist movement was big.
Yeah,
I remember that one.
it's gonna
You
resurge.
think so?
Kamala
Ooh,
2024, without a doubt.
please. You entered college happy. You
Yeah,
left angry and upset.
yeah, with a Xanax prescription.
Yeah. And that's crazy. You should be leaving college excited about the future,
I know.
right? That's what it
Yeah,
was there for,
yeah.
to learn an occupation and get a job. Did you end up using your degree at least?
Kind of because I studied history and politics. I then got my MBA. I lived in Barcelona for a year, and that was interesting because I was very liberal when I lived there. But Spain is kind of a more traditional country, and I remember it was like very confusing to me that just the culture was so different, and I was
Interesting.
coming from this like very staunch like leftist lens. So yeah, I mean, I'm grateful for my experience. I'm grateful that I went. Went on national TV and like maybe called my college a cult.
Really?
Oops.
Whoa.
I went on Tucker Carlson, and that I think was perhaps a little bit dramatic, but in the aftermath, I have had hundreds, if not thousands, of parents reach out to me saying, like, thank you for sharing your story because my kid went away and they're so different now. And I'm like, well, yeah, like, this is just par for the course. All the colleges in America are so liberal, but it's now like high schools, middle schools, lower schools, private schools, Christian schools, whatever. It's everywhere, you know?
Yeah. Do you think schools should even incorporate any form of politics?
I mean, I think it's important to read the classes. I think it's important to know, to understand, yes, we should have open discussion. We should have dialogue. The problem is that there is no open discussion or dialogue anymore. Everything's very biased. And I think it, partially comes down to like personal responsibility of a professor to be the one to not have bias as you're grading or giving people assignments, but that's not happening.
Yeah.
And also all these colleges have DEI representatives, and so it's coming kind of from top down, from the administration. So it's very hard to avoid the bias. But yeah, of course we should learn about politics. Like, we live in a democracy. I love politics, and like,
Yeah.
I love discussion. And I think that so many people have fought for our right to vote, so we should be practicing that. So yeah, I think it's important.
Okay. What's DEI?
Diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Oh, I heard about this. So every
Yeah.
company has to have a certain percent, right, of each. That's how it works.
Yes, it's kind of like affirmative action.
Yeah.
But it's a social, like a social program, basically.
Yeah. Do you think it's been effective?
In changing corporations from the inside out, yes. And then as a result, our society is becoming more woke. DEI has actually been reined back in a lot in the last few months. Companies are saying that they're not going to implement these policies anymore because you lose money. You're not making money. Like, do you remember last year the Target boycotts?
Yeah.
Okay, so Target was selling like, I guess, just a lot of swimwear for children that had a lot of like Pride Month. It was
Yeah,
just
so
like
I remember
Pride Month
that.
paraphernalia, and they had those like tucking underwear for trans children, and people were so upset that and remember Bud Light, the Bud Light
Oh, that
boycott,
one
like
was bad.
those two things right there are a result of like a DEI initiative. Like,
Wow.
let's try to be more inclusive. And then they implement it, and the consumer is like, what? This isn't what we want. Like,
Yeah.
I'm coming here for my like paper towels. Like,
For real.
can we leave
should
the
be-
agendas out of it?
It should be based off talent. If I'm hiring people, why would I care what race or age or gender you are?
Yeah, it shouldn't matter.
Like,
And
if
that's
you're
like,
skilled at 15 or whatever, like, I'll
Yeah.
hire you.
and that's why capitalism is the best model. Also, capitalism is like what we need to save America.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, it gets tricky there because big companies have a lot of say in policies too.
Yeah.
Like big pharma, big food,
They do.
with the war companies. So I am a fan of capitalism to a certain level, but then I think the companies get a little too much influence. You know what I mean? Because look at what Google's doing, censoring the assassination attempt.
Yeah, we are. Oh my God,
It's
that's
terrible.
so
Like they
crazy.
have too much power.
I'm glad you brought that up because we're gonna need record of it because people are gonna forget
No,
because
there's already like
we live in
so
a
many
fishbowl.
videos on it. It's crazy. Yeah, people
Yeah,
forget quick though.
people forget so
But you
quickly.
literally can't even Google the assassination attempt.
I mean, that's criminal. I'm someone that's for less regulation. I think we need it to be easier to start businesses. Also, I think like less college. I don't think that people
Yeah.
need to just go to 4 years of
No, I'm not a
university. I
fan of
think
college.
go into the workforce, especially for young men. I don't
Yeah.
know why. I think that I do think young women maybe benefit a little bit more from going to university. This is just this is my opinion, my observation. And I think young men benefit more from just going right into the workforce.
I can see that. I mean, those are your prime years. To
Yeah.
be spent in a classroom, it's kind of like a wasted potential, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's like a lot of money to be made in
Yeah,
those
like I
four
started working
years.
at 18. Like that's when you have the most energy.
Yeah,
Like why would you want to spend, and especially I mean, you kind of need med school, but some schools are
we do
so
need
prolonged,
doctors. Yeah,
you know? Well, now there's AI doctors.
I didn't know about
Yeah,
this.
so they could self-diagnose your diseases through this body scan. I think it's called Prenuvo, and
Okay.
it could detect cancer really early and stuff. And soon there'll be robots doing the surgeries.
Okay.
Are you a fan of that at all?
I'll get back to you.
Yeah, AI is such a new thing. It's hard to really form a concrete opinion on it.
Yeah. I definitely take it into account when I'm investing. You know, I think that AI it already the future's here, it's already happening, and so I'm not someone that's like resistant to technological advances and change. I think we have to embrace them to a certain extent. Like, let's not wipe out humanity in the meantime.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that about the AI doctor, so
I went to a
I'm gonna-
dentist the other
yeah.
day and they took photos of my teeth and they put it into an AI software
Yeah.
and they told me how many cavities I had. It was
Okay.
crazy.
How many cavities?
7. It was bad. Yeah, it was bad. But how cool is that? Like
That's really cool.
there's no human error. Like they could even find really small ones and they found some things in my gum too. Yeah.
So who's gonna fill your cavities? A dentist or a machine?
So yeah, I'm going to a holistic dentist. So they fill the cavities there. And the
Okay.
problem with traditional dentists is not all of them, but a
Yeah.
lot of them use this filling with PFAs in it,
Okay.
forever plastics. And that's in your
Yes.
teeth
Forever.
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 Yeah. So it's just leaching the toxins in your mouth.
I just learned something new, and I feel like I'm pretty aware of like anything holistic. That
That's a newer one. Yeah.
That's new.
The problem is it's super expensive.
yeah.
I had to pay $8,000 to fill 7 cavities,
Wow.
which
Yeah.
insurance doesn't cover.
No, of course
So
not.
if you want to be healthy, you got to
Yeah.
spend a lot, you know?
Oh my God, and you have to eat grass-fed meat.
Yeah,
Just
and that's
eat
like triple the
steak.
price of normal.
Yeah. I was a vegan for a long time too.
Oh, you fell for that too? Wow, you made massive changes.
No, I fell for all of it, Sean, all of it.
Holy crap. The vegan one is almost worse than the Democrat one.
It is, and I have this crazy theory that the vegan diet is pushed to weaken us. Like you're not getting enough, you can't get enough B vitamins, and our brain we need B12, we need the Bs. You're not getting enough, so it like feeds into mental illness. You start
Wow.
to have mood swings if you're malnourished. You're malnourished even though you think you're eating enough. You're malnourished.
Crazy.
Total scam.
Vegans just don't look healthy when you look at them.
No,
Like just physical appearance alone.
yeah.
They almost got me with the Beyond Meat stuff.
Right.
I
know.
tried it.
Oh, they got me.
It tasted like yeah, they got me once and just purely taste before all the seed oil thing came out.
Yeah.
I just didn't like it.
that
you know,
was good.
they got you though for a while on that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man, the ingredients in there are scary.
I know. So many. Can't pronounce any of
Yeah,
them.
there's countries banning fake meat.
Yeah.
I think
good.
Italy banned fake chicken or something.
Good. It's just so weird that like we were able to be convinced that actual meat is worse for us than a list of chemicals. Like,
Yeah,
make it make sense.
the marketing.
Yeah.
They're really good at the programming.
Yes.
You know. Wow, look at
Catching
you though.
on.
This is crazy. What else were you back then?
Oh my God. I mean, I could go issue
You
by
were a
issue by
feminist,
issue.
You were Democrat, vegan.
Yeah.
It's hard to top those 3 right there.
I know.
Damn.
I know. I had pink hair for a bit.
Oh, you were pink hair. That's like a meme. Crazy pink hair lady.
Yeah.
Wow. Whoever dated you back then must have been a trooper, you know?
Well, I've always been cute.
Okay.
So
Looks will get you
made
far.
up for it.
Looks will get you far in America.
Yeah.
I like that you're spiritual though. That's important.
Yeah. Oh, we could add atheist to that former list.
Ooh.
Ooh.
I was atheist too though.
Okay.
I feel like that's Well, church is just kind of weird vibe. Like, you know what I mean? Like going to church growing up.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's almost like
so
you're forced.
boring.
Yeah,
It's
it's
so
boring.
growing up.
It's boring.
And
It's
sleepy.
forced. You don't want to
Yeah.
go as a kid.
I didn't retain anything.
Nothing. I can't
Nothing.
remember a single thing.
No. Now I appreciate it though. Like, I'll go to an Episcopalian service, like on just on holidays with my family. Now I try like non-denominational churches, or I just sort of figure it out on my own, right? But if you like open the hymnal, so many of the songs are hundreds of years old. And that to me is really cool. Like that's very significant that
Right.
we've been able to like continue having these same songs since
That's
like
powerful.
the 1400s, 1500s. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's beautiful.
Music is healing.
Yeah.
Like the old music, not the new music.
No.
That is actually harmful.
It is.
It's so bad for you.
It's so bad.
I don't listen to any
Demonic.
modern hip hop, rap, anything.
Yeah. What do you like to listen to?
70s and like 80s.
70s, best music decade.
Yeah.
Hands down.
That's when the
best.
vibration was high. You just
Yeah.
feel great.
I love the Rolling Stones.
Oh, can't beat that. Man, atheist too. Yeah, I went through that. Was it a little psychedelic trip that changed that for you?
No, not at all. It was the opposite. I stopped doing drugs.
Oh, wow.
Not that I'm just going to preface, not that I really did drugs. We are on a podcast. I know you get lots of viewers. I do have a job.
No, you're good.
My spiritual journey, it's been over time. It's been very slow. I think the first thing that I kind of could understand was time. Like I wasn't in control of the fact that like with each day of making a change, like maybe I felt a little bit better. That sort of evolved into energy. What I put out is what I get back. And then from there, it just like I believed that other people believed. And then all of a sudden I just started to look at my life and the way the stars aligned, and it like the God coincidences, like there were too many of them
Yeah.
for me to question anymore. I was like, okay, I'm going to choose to believe in this. And then as soon as I made that choice, it was like, whoa, I just started to feel it all the time. Like the presence of something.
I love it because living
Yeah.
as an atheist with no purpose is kind of like depressing.
So depressing. Nihilism is terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible for people. Like,
Absolutely.
I'm sure it feeds into the mental health crisis that we're facing.
Oh, for sure.
Like a little bit of spirituality and puts a pep in your step,
Absolutely.
you know?
Touch some grass, guys.
Yes.
Feels
Touch some
great.
grass,
Or
eat
the
some
beach.
meat.
Yeah.
Talk to
Eat some
God.
meat, grass-fed meat, talk to God. Simple things. You think you don't have to spend crazy money to
It's
you know.
well, I guess it's not totally free, but like it's cheap.
Yeah.
The solution is
The
cheap.
spiritual side, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I want to end off with private equity, which is what you're doing now.
Yeah.
How'd you get involved with that?
So my background was finance. After Hillary lost, I was like, I'm going to Wall Street because like the good little feminist has like, I need to go to a male-dominated industry and
Prove
change
yourself.
it. Yeah. Side note, I love the patriarchy. Like we're reformed. I think it's great. Like
Nice.
I don't want to pave the roads. You know?
Yeah, I feel that. I don't even want to do that. I want to pay someone that's great at doing that to do that, and I will be behind a microphone.
So private equity, it was one of those things. I worked on Wall Street, have all my licenses, took a hiatus, worked for this amazing nonprofit called PragerU. That's when I fell into media, right? That interview with Tucker Carlson just happened. I had this story, it went viral, and then I was like, okay, this is my service right now. Like, I'm going to do this. And then I decided that I wanted to go back into kind of what I'd been doing and maybe fight the good fight as a little bit more of a hobby.
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Is it your own company or do you work for?
No, I work for a boutique firm.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's
I love
cool.
it.
Anything else? I know there's a quote here. Personal excellence is the ultimate form of rebellion.
Yeah,
That's your quote.
it is. It is. I mean, I have lots of them, but that's my one right now.
What does that mean to you?
Take responsibility, right? It all starts with like me first. I love a routine, waking up early, working out, all the simple things, right? That like keep me healthy and my best self so then I can also help other people in the process. And I think that we are examples like how we hold ourselves. We have to live our values. And my values are, honesty, reliability. Spirituality is very important, but that means I have to be honest and I have to be reliable. And that comes down to like holding myself to a high standard, which is personal excellence.
Love it. Closing messages. We got a really young audience here. I'd love for you to share some wisdom before we wrap this up.
Okay. Get humble or get humiliated.
Bars. We'll leave it there. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks so much for
We'll
having
link your stuff
me.
below. Awesome. Thanks for watching, guys, as always. We'll see you next time.